The smoke still hung thick over the ruins of Settlement 47 when Corporal Maya Chen picked her way through the rubble. Her boots crunched on broken glass and scorched metal. Behind her, the rest of Second Squad secured the perimeter, their weapons trained on the shattered buildings that lined what used to be a street. "Medic, we're moving out in 5, Sergeant Park called over the comm. "Command wants us back at base before dark." Maya adjusted the heavy medical pack on her shoulders and nodded, even though he couldn't see her. She was tired. They all were. 3 days of pushing through Vraxian territory had left them exhausted and low on supplies. Her pack, once full of bandages and plasma, was now half empty after treating wounded soldiers all morning. She turned to follow the squad when she heard it. A sound so faint she almost missed it beneath the wind whistling through broken walls. A whimper. Soft and desperate. Maya froze. "Wait, I heard something." "Chin, we don't have time," Park said, his voice sharp with impatience. But Maya was already moving toward a collapsed building on her left. The sound came again, weaker this time. She climbed over a pile of debris, ignoring the protest from her sore muscles. Inside what remained of the structure, furniture lay crushed and burned. Strange alien decorations hung crooked on the walls. There, in the corner beneath a fallen beam, something moved. Maya pulled out her flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness and landed on a small creature trapped under the rubble. It was roughly the size of a house cat, covered in soft gray fur that was now matted with blood and dust. Its face was distinctly feline, with large amber eyes that stared up at her with pure terror. Pointed ears lay flat against its skull. "Oh no," Maya whispered. She had seen pictures of Felixer in the intelligence briefings. They were a peaceful species caught between the human and Vraxian war. This one was young, maybe equivalent to a human child. The creature's breathing came in shallow, rapid gasps. One of its legs bent at an unnatural angle. Burns marked its side, probably from energy weapons. But what made Maya's stomach turn was the dark discoloration spreading across its chest. She recognized it from field reports. Parasitic infection. Fatal to Felixer within days if left untreated. "Chin, what are you doing?" Park's voice crackled in her ear. Maya knelt beside the creature. It tried to hiss at her but only managed a weak sound. Its eyes pleaded with her. She had seen that look before in wounded soldiers. The look of someone who knew they were dying. "There's a civilian here." "Injured?" Maya said carefully. She didn't mention it was a Felixer. Command had been clear about resource allocation. Human lives first. Always. "Can they walk?" "We can't carry extra weight." Maya looked at the small alien. It couldn't even stand. "Negative." There was a pause. "Then we leave them." "Move out, Corporal." "That's an order." Maya's hand hovered over the creature. Every regulation, every protocol she had been taught told her to obey. They were at war. Resources were precious. This wasn't even a human. But as she looked into those frightened amber eyes, she saw something that made her chest tighten. Intelligence. Understanding. This wasn't just an animal. This was someone. "Copy that, Sergeant." "On my way," she said. Her hands moved quickly. She pulled off her jacket and wrapped the small Felixer carefully, tucking it against her chest. It whimpered softly but didn't struggle. Maybe it understood she was trying to help. Maya opened her medical pack and rearranged supplies, creating a hidden space. She slipped the creature inside, leaving enough room for air. "Please be quiet," she whispered. "Just for a little while." As if it understood, the Felixer went still. Maya could feel its rapid heartbeat through the pack as she zipped it closed. She took a deep breath and climbed back out of the ruins. Park waited by the transport, counting heads. He barely glanced at Maya as she climbed aboard. No one noticed the medical pack seemed fuller than before. No one heard the soft, labored breathing coming from inside. Maya sat in the back of the transport and stared at her hands. They were shaking. She had just violated direct orders. But as the vehicle rumbled toward base, she felt the slight movement in her pack and knew she had made the only choice she could live with. The medical tent bustled with activity when Maya slipped inside. Wounded soldiers filled every cot, and the air smelled of antiseptic and sweat. Dr. Hassan moved between patients, barking orders at nurses. No one paid attention to one more medic returning from patrol. Maya made her way to the supply closet in the back corner. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she set down her pack and locked the door behind her. She unzipped it carefully and lifted out the small bundle. The Felixer's eyes were barely open now. Its breathing had grown worse during the transport. Maya unwrapped her jacket and winced at what she saw. The parasitic infection had spread, dark veins creeping across the creature's gray fur like poisonous roots. She had maybe hours, not days. Okay, little one. Let's see what I can do, Maya whispered. She worked quickly, pulling supplies from the shelves. Bandages for the burns. A splint for the broken leg. But the infection was the real killer. Maya grabbed a scanner and ran it over the creature's chest. The readings made her freeze. The parasite was attacking the Felixer's respiratory system, filling its lungs with fluid. Maya's mind raced. She had treated similar infections in humans, but this was alien biology. What worked for humans might poison the Felixer. Or it might do nothing at all. She bit her lip and made a decision. The alternative was watching it die. She prepared an injection of broad-spectrum antibiotics, reducing the dose to account for the creature's smaller size. The Felixer whimpered as the needle went in, but it didn't try to bite her. Its amber eyes watched her face as if searching for reassurance. I know it hurts. I'm sorry, Maya said softly. She had just finished wrapping the splint when the door handle rattled. Maya's blood went cold. Chin, you in there? Open up. Lieutenant Torres. Of all the people who could have found her. Maya quickly covered the Felixer with her jacket and opened the door. Torres stood in the doorway, his dark eyes suspicious. He was known throughout the unit as a strict, by-the-book officer who never bent rules. Sir, I was just restocking my kit, Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. Torres stepped inside and closed the door. Really? Because Specialist Kim said he saw you carrying something into the base. Something that moved. Maya's throat went dry. I don't know what he's talking about. Torres walked past her and pointed at the jacket. A small paw had slipped out from beneath it. The Felixer, too weak to hide, gazed up at them both. Corporal Chen, what the hell is that? Torres demanded. Sir, I can explain. You brought an alien animal into a military medical facility? Torres's voice rose. Do you have any idea how many protocols you've violated? We're at war, Chen. Our supplies are for human soldiers, not strays you pick up in the field. Maya stepped between Torres and the Felixer. Sir, it's dying. I couldn't just leave it there. Yes, you could have. You should have. Torres pulled out his comm unit. I'm reporting this to command. You'll face disciplinary action, possibly court-martial. Wait, please. Maya's voice cracked. Just look at it. Really look. Torres glanced down. The Felixer stared back at him, its eyes filled with fear and pain. It made a soft sound, almost like a question. It's an intelligent species, sir. The briefing said Felixer are sentient. This isn't an animal. This is someone's child. The Vraxians killed its family. Maya's hands clenched into fists. We're supposed to be the good guys. We're supposed to be better than them. What does it say about humanity if we can't show mercy to a dying child? Torres was quiet for a long moment. He looked at Maya, then at the Felixer, then back at Maya. His jaw worked like he was chewing on words he didn't want to say. The Felixer suddenly made a weak hissing sound and tried to move toward Maya, as if trying to protect her despite its broken body. The effort cost it, and it collapsed back onto the jacket, panting hard. Something changed in Torres's expression. He put away his comm unit and ran a hand over his face. 48 hours, Chin. You have 48 hours to stabilize it or let it go peacefully. After that, I'm reporting this. Understood. Maya felt tears sting her eyes. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Torres moved toward the door, then paused. You're going to need more antibiotics. Third shelf, blue container. And Chin? Don't make me regret this. 2 weeks passed like a dream Maya didn't want to wake from. The Felixer survived the first critical night, then the second. By the third day, its breathing had improved. By the end of the first week, it could stand on its splinted leg. Maya spent every free moment in the supply closet, which had become a secret sanctuary. She named the creature Whisker after it reached out one morning and gently touched her face with its paw, exploring her features with careful curiosity. The touch was so tender, so trusting that Maya had laughed through tears. Whisker it is then, she had said, and the Felixer's ears had perked up at the sound of its new name. What amazed Maya most was how intelligent Whisker proved to be. When she said sit, Whisker sat. When she said quiet, Whisker went silent. The alien understood far more than simple commands. Sometimes Maya would talk about her day, complaining about the heat or the terrible food, and Whisker would tilt its head and listen with such focus that Maya felt truly heard. One evening, Maya sat on the floor of the closet, exhausted after a brutal day. They had lost 2 soldiers in an ambush. She had tried everything to save them, but it hadn't been enough. The weight of it pressed down on her chest until she could barely breathe. Whisker limped over, still favoring the healing leg. The small alien climbed into Maya's lap and pressed its furry head against her chest, right over her heart. A soft vibration filled the air. Whisker was purring. But it was more than that. A sense of calm washed over Maya, warm and comforting, like a gentle hand on her shoulder. The crushing weight lifted just enough to let her breathe again. Maya stared down at Whisker in wonder. Did you just feel what I was feeling? Whisker's amber eyes met hers, deep with understanding. Maya had read about empathic abilities in some alien species, but experiencing it was something else entirely. This small creature hadn't just sensed her pain. It had tried to ease it. By the second week, keeping Whisker's secret had become impossible. Soldiers wandered into the supply closet for bandages and found Maya sitting with a small gray alien curled in her lap. But instead of reporting her, they smiled. Some even brought treats from their rations, trying to figure out what Felixer liked to eat. Private Jackson, a tough infantry soldier covered in scars, had melted when Whisker chirped at him. "Ah, Manchin. How'd you get something so cute on a battlefield?" Even Dr. Hassan discovered Whisker eventually. Maya had braced for anger, but the doctor had simply examined the alien with professional interest. Remarkable recovery. The antibiotic compatibility is fascinating. You did good work, Corporal. Lieutenant Torres checked in every few days. He never smiled, but he stopped threatening to report Maya. Once, Maya caught him slipping Whisker a piece of dried meat when he thought no one was watching. Maya started researching Felixer culture in the base database during her downtime. What she found made her stomach turn. The Felixer were considered sacred by most species in this sector. They were healers, diplomats, and empaths who helped negotiate peace between warring factions. Harming a Felixer was taboo, an act that brought shame and condemnation. The Vraxians had deliberately targeted Felixer settlements to break the spirits of local populations. It was psychological warfare of the cruelest kind. Whisker's family had been massacred along with hundreds of others, their homes burned, their children scattered. Maya held Whisker closer that night. "You survived," she whispered. "You're safe now. I promise." Whisker nuzzled against her neck and purred. The sound filled the small closet with warmth. Maya realized that over these 2 weeks, Whisker had become more than just a patient or a secret. The small alien had become family. The bond between them felt unbreakable, forged in pain and sealed with trust. She couldn't imagine her life without Whisker now. The thought of being separated made her chest ache. But they were still on a military base, still at war. Nothing was certain. Nothing was safe. Maya stroked Whisker's soft fur and tried not to think about tomorrow. For now they had this moment. A human and a Felixer, two souls who had found each other in the darkness of war and chosen to hold on tight. The alarm shattered the peaceful night at 0300 hours. Maya jerked awake in her bunk, her heart already racing. Red emergency lights bathed everything in blood-colored shadows. The base-wide speaker crackled to life. "All personnel to defensive positions. We are under attack. This is not a drill." Explosions rocked the compound. Maya grabbed her medical pack and ran toward the medical tent. Whisker bounded alongside her, refusing to be left behind despite Maya's frantic gestures to stay hidden. The small Felixer had grown stronger, faster, but this was different. This was real danger. The medical tent was chaos. Wounded soldiers poured in as the Vraxian assault intensified. Maya worked frantically, applying pressure to bleeding wounds, injecting pain medication, shouting for more supplies. Whisker huddled under a cot, eyes wide with terror. The sounds of gunfire and screams must have brought back memories of the attack that killed its family. Dr. Hassan worked beside Maya, his hands steady despite the violence outside. "Chin, we need more plasma packs from storage." Maya nodded and turned to go, but an explosion tore through the tent's entrance. The blast threw her backward. Her ears rang. Smoke filled her lungs. When her vision cleared, she saw Vraxian soldiers advancing through the hole in the tent wall. They wore dark armor that seemed to absorb light. Their weapons glowed with lethal energy. One of them pointed at the wounded humans on the cots and spoke in harsh, guttural tones. Even without understanding the language, Maya knew what he intended. Execute the wounded. Leave no survivors. Maya's weapon was across the tent, impossibly far away. She was unarmed, surrounded by patients who couldn't fight back. The Vraxian soldier raised his energy rifle, targeting a young private who had lost both legs earlier that day. A gray blur shot out from under the cot. Whisker launched itself at the Vraxian's face with a fierce yowl. The small Felixer clawed and bit with desperate fury. The soldier stumbled backward, surprised by the sudden attack. It wasn't much. Whisker weighed maybe 10 pounds. But it was enough. Maya dove for her weapon. Her fingers closed around the grip. She rolled, aimed, and fired in one smooth motion. The Vraxian soldier dropped. But his companion turned toward Maya, his weapon charging with deadly light. No! Maya scrambled to her feet, knowing she was too slow. The Vraxian fired. A bolt of searing energy streaked through the smoke-filled air. Whisker leaped between Maya and the blast. The energy weapon caught the small Felixer in midair, spinning it backward. Whisker hit the ground and didn't move. Time seemed to freeze. Maya's scream tore from her throat. She fired again and again until the second Vraxian fell. Other human soldiers poured into the tent, driving back the remaining attackers. The sounds of battle moved away, pushed back by reinforcements, but Maya heard none of it. She dropped to her knees beside Whisker's still form. The blast had burned across the Felixer's shoulder and side. The fur was scorched, the skin beneath angry and blistered. But Whisker was breathing. Barely. No, no, no. Stay with me. Maya's hands shook as she reached for her medical supplies. She had done this 100 times for human soldiers, but this was different. This was Whisker. The small alien who had become her reason to smile. Her family. Dr. Hassan appeared beside her. Chin, let me help. Together they worked. Maya's training took over, pushing away the fear. She cleaned the wound, applied burn gel, started in 4-line. Whisker's eyes fluttered open once, found Maya's face and closed again. The Felixer's breathing was shallow but steady. The wound isn't fatal, Hassan said quietly. But it needs surgery. Now. Maya nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. As they lifted Whisker onto a surgical table, she finally understood something that made her chest ache. Whisker had seen the energy blast coming. The small alien had chosen to jump in front of it. Chosen to take the hit meant for Maya. Just as Maya had chosen to save Whisker from that ruined building weeks ago, Whisker had returned the favor. They had saved each other. 3 months later, Maya stood on a balcony overlooking the capital city of Felixer Prime. The twin suns cast golden light across towers that curved like flower stems reaching for the sky. Gardens bloomed on every rooftop, filling the air with sweet fragrances. It was beautiful, peaceful. Everything the battlefield had not been. Whisker sat beside her, fully healed now. The scar on the Felixer's shoulder had faded to a silver line beneath gray fur. Maya reached down and scratched behind Whisker's ears. The responding purr made her smile. Hard to believe, isn't it? Lieutenant Torres stepped onto the balcony, now wearing a diplomatic uniform instead of combat gear. 3 months ago we were dodging plasma fire. Now we're attending peace ceremonies. Maya nodded. It feels like a dream. But it was real. After the attack on the base, Maya's commanding officer had demanded to know why a Felixer was in the medical tent. Maya had expected punishment, maybe even prison. Instead, everything had changed. The Felixer government had learned that a human soldier saved one of their children. They had sent ambassadors immediately, grateful beyond measure. Other alien species had taken notice. The Kix Collective, the Thorin Assembly, even the Neutral Merchants Guild, all reached out to humanity with new interest. If humans show mercy even during war, one alien diplomat had said, perhaps they are worth knowing. Maya had been honorably discharged with full commendation for valor. The medal felt heavy in her pocket, but it wasn't the medal that mattered. What mattered was standing here, free, with Whisker safe beside her. The Felixer government had offered Maya a position as Goodwill Ambassador, a liaison between humans and Felixer. She had accepted immediately. Whisker of course came with her. The bond between them had only grown stronger. Maya had learned something wonderful in recent weeks. Whisker's empathic abilities weren't normal for young Felixer. According to the healers, Whisker had developed a rare psychic gift, one that only appeared when a Felixer formed a deep soul bond with another sentient being. Whisker could sense emotions, share feelings, and even communicate complex ideas through that connection. You changed everything, you know, Torres said, leaning against the railing. Command is implementing new protocols. Medical personnel are now authorized to provide aid to wounded civilians of any species. They're calling it the Chin Protocol. Maya's eyes widened. They named it after me? You started something. Other medics heard what you did. They started helping too. Saving Vraxian civilians caught in crossfire. Treating wounded refugees. Suddenly everyone remembered why we became medics in the first place. Torres smiled, a rare expression on his usually stern face. To save lives. Any life. Below them, Maya could see other humans walking through the Felixer city. Diplomats, scientists, even a few former soldiers like herself. All welcomed, all treated with kindness. The war with the Vraxians was winding down too. With so many species now supporting humanity, the Dominion had agreed to peace talks. Whisker chirped and pressed against Maya's leg. Through their bond, Maya felt what the Felixer was feeling. Contentment. Safety. Love. And something else, a complex emotion that Maya recognized as gratitude mixed with purpose. Whisker knew they had work to do. Together they would help build bridges between species. A young Felixer child ran up to them, eyes wide with curiosity. The child's parents followed, smiling nervously. The mother spoke in accented but clear English. "Excuse me. Is this the human who saved the lost child? My daughter wanted to meet you." Maya knelt down to the child's level. "Hello. Yes, this is Whisker. Would you like to pet them?" The child reached out with trembling paws. Whisker purred and nuzzled the young one's hand. The child giggled with delight. As Maya watched more Felixer gather, all wanting to meet the human and the miracle child, she thought about that day in the ruins. The choice she had made. Break the rules or let an innocent die. She had chosen compassion. One small act in a war that seemed endless. But small acts created ripples. Ripples became waves. And waves could change the course of rivers. Maya looked at Whisker, her friend, her family, her partner in this new chapter. The small Felixer who had been left to die in pain now thrived, healthy and whole. Together they would show the galaxy what humanity truly stood for. Not war. Not conquest. But the simple, powerful choice to care.